you can't get too comfortable in marketing. You have to stay relevant. You have to keep innovating. And so when there's competition, it kind of lights a fire under you in a good way that makes you think like, okay, what are we going to do next?
My guest on this episode is Maura Rivera. She's the CMO at Qualified. They're leading a movement in agentic marketing. The future, they've been saying, people have been telling me, is all about AI. And Qualified's right at the forefront of this. But I had a great conversation about Maura. We didn't talk entirely about AI. We talked about her career at Qualified.
When I first was CMO at Qualified, I kind of had imposter syndrome and I thought I had to be the expert at everything. I've learned over the years, what you need to do is hire really, really smart people around you who can teach you and guide you.
In a world where most CMOs are trading jobs every 1 to 2 years, she's been at this company for 6 years. And of the team of 30 marketing people, 25 marketing people they have, half of them have been there as long.
If you can hire the A team, I think it's a good thing if they're smarter than you. And especially at a small company, those really smart people, they have to have grit. They have to be willing to roll up their sleeves. You can't come in as a VP and think you're going to boss people around when you're a small company. You have to do the work too.
I want to understand why. What's going on over there? What do they have in the water over there at Qualified that has all these people staying for so long? And it turns out the connection is the product vision, the alignment between the product team and the marketing team. And so we talked about how important that is at your company, how product launches, the product roadmap are the best thing and the best partner for marketing. We talked about the team, AI, how outbound is not dead. It's certainly working. And here's why. We talked about why events are back. And I love this. We talked about why marketing is back in the driver's seat. That's because of AI. It's a positive thing, not a negative thing. We're going to brainwash you into thinking that. Enjoy my conversation with Maura Rivera. She's the CMO at Qualified.
1, 2, 3, 4. Exit.
Okay, so my guest today is Maura Rivera. She's the CMO at Qualified, and we were just talking about our workout habits and tendencies. And you mentioned that you're a big runner and trail running. I hated running my whole life. I always worked out. But then a couple of years ago, I was like, you know what? I can't really call myself an athlete like if I can't run. And so I don't run long distances, but like 3 to 5 miles is the perfect sweet spot for me.
That's good.
And then
calling myself a big runner is a stretch. I would say I'm a
said that.
jogger.
You don't have to take credit for that. I said that. Well, and for me though, also, I don't know if it's like because of kids or because of like working indoors, like the 2-for-1 has any workout that happens outside is high. I will rank it higher than like an inside one. I need to be outside. So you and I were talking about your Peloton. It's like, totally get it. If I'm going to work out, like, and I can be outside, it's going to be outside.
Yeah. And especially just like being on Zoom all day. And then you and I were talking, we both have young kids. I'm like, if I can even just get 25 minutes of alone time when I listen to like a funny podcast and I just run, even if it's just for 2 miles, it's like the time that I get dedicated just to clear my head a little bit. I don't do it as much as I should though. And it's starting to get a little cold. So I'm nervous my habit's going to wane even more.
Give me a break. You live in the East Bay. Like, what are we talking about? I'll show you cold. Like,
oh my God,
I'm on the other side of the
complain.
country over here. You can't
I'm a
complain.
softie.
There's no bad weather. Actually, a friend of mine who is an actual big runner, he's like, dude, I would always rather run. He's like, when it's 90 degrees out, I'm not going to like, running is impossible. But if it's cold, once you get going, your body temperature gets up so much. And so even here in Vermont, like if it's 0 degrees out, I will still be sweaty. You just have to have, the proper layering.
Have you always been in Vermont?
No, we moved here in, so I was a CMO at Privy at the time. It was like April 2020.
Okay.
We were living in Boston.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
3-year-old, 1-year-old. That's where like my whole life was. And then I know COVID happened and everything went remote and just blew up. And I think I was having this like, wait a second, like I'm a knowledge worker. Like I work on the computer, like, but I'd always thought like, if I want to be a CMO and I want to work and I want to be in marketing, like I got to be in the city. And so my wife's from Vermont and I just was having like, I think as a lot of us were at that time of life, just having I was probably, I don't know, in my low 30s. So it wasn't a midlife crisis, but I was like, we got to do something different. I'm ready to, let's move to Vermont. And she was like, are you serious? Are you serious?
Well, it's so cool because you might not have ever done that move, and that
talk about it all the time. We'll be at night. We'll be watching TV at night. We'll be like, you ever think about what we would like, where we would be living, what we would be doing,
what your life would look like? It's beautiful out there. My brother went to Dartmouth, so we went up to Vermont once when we visited, and I was like, it's a whole different world. The changing leaves and the the cheese curds. It was love.
The cheese curds. Yeah, it's great. Well, it's good to talk to you. It's always fun. I can always tell. It's like right away when I talk to someone, sometimes I get messages from like PR teams and they're like, they'll have some super impressive CMO on there. And it's like the chemistry with someone is not always good. And so you're like, oh, I feel like I know you. And I already feel that already. So I don't have as much existential dread and like, what the heck am I going to talk to this woman about for
Well,
an
well,
hour?
Dave, we have a lot in common. So I know we've worked for
What do we have in
well,
common?
I feel like we've worked for competitors before, which is funny, which is the small CMO world is like a lot of times friends become competitors and then become friends. It's also there's so much overlap. But I've
Totally.
always watched you from afar. Love your content. So it's fun. It's
Thank
fun to
you.
be in the inner circle with you.
That's cool. It's it's so funny. It's like when you're in a company, it's like competitors, they're evil, the qualified sucks, like, but it's so funny. But then once I left Drift, like my world opened up to me in so many different ways. Like our biggest probably rival at the time, well, qualified was like coming up and new. And so super easy to position against like a startup, not just qualified, but like, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but like marketing tactics would be like, oh, okay, what ingredients do we have? Well, they're new, like, and that's exactly what we used when we were coming up. We like went after Intercom, and it was like we're the upstarts, and Intercom could be like they have no credibility, right? And so it's like that's the whole angle. But when I left Drift, like shortly after that, this guy who ran finance at Intercom messaged me. This guy Bobby, and he was starting a new company. He's like, "Hey, can you be my advisor?" And I was like, "Wait, you know me? I thought you guys all hated me." And he's like, "No, dude, we thought we were like admiring what you're doing." And so it's like I get outside the bubble. I will say though, there's always like some guy from LinkedIn who's like, I have like a form on our website because we had this like no forms, chatbot, like use chatbot. Some guy will like chirp me and be like, "Oh, look at this, Mr. No Forms has a form on his website." I'm like, dude,
You're like, get over it.
like that was 8 years ago, and I was like, I was working for a company that was literally my job was to be their marketing person. So obviously, I'm going to say like,
Well, it's fun too. I was just talking with, I won't like talk about the companies, but I was just at this CMO thing last week and they were talking about how they had recruited product marketing from their competition because they always looked up to what the competition was doing. So I feel like competitive spirit's good because you're looking at what the other team's doing, you're getting inspiration from them, you're trying to figure out how you differentiate. And then I think there's always respect at the end of the day for like how other teams are winning in different ways. So you guys kind of wrote a great playbook just for content creation at Drift that we always looked up to a lot.
well, but I mean that's what's fun. Like that's actually like it's so one of the coolest parts about building Exit 5 that I didn't expect was people just like want to have friends that work in marketing.
Totally. Totally.
And it's like we can't that can't be the leading value prop. And so it's like, we need to like lead with education and like we need to help educate marketers. But we're finding that like our like aha moment is like there's a story of I tell this all the time now. I've never told on the podcast, but there's two members of ours and two heads of marketing, two moms. They live in a town in Pennsylvania. Their kids are in the same school in the same grade and play soccer together, and they didn't know about it until they like met through Exit 5, and
Oh,
now they're
that's so
friends.
cool.
They go for walks together. They drove up to our New York event, and so it's like the same thing. The line that I say all the time is like most people in my personal life, like I have no idea what I do for work. I can't talk to
100%. Yeah.
I can't talk to them about marketing. And so actually, if you think about it, your competitors, if you all could like hang out and like have a beer and have dinner together, that'd actually probably be like the best conversation.
Totally, totally. I feel the same way where I have 3 young kids. I'm at school. I'm like, I think people think I work in tech, and I kind of like it sometimes because I get to just be a mom and not talk about work. But then when you do get to connect with other CMOs, other marketing leaders, you just have so much in common. You can talk about your relationship with sales and your campaigns or something that didn't work or how you're thinking about spend for next year. And you can kind of just like also bitch to each other about stuff you're struggling with. It feels like this like safe space. So
They're like,
I've tried
did
to
you go to SaaStr this year? Yeah, we did. Ah, like,
yeah,
it's
yeah, totally, totally. And then once you find those people, you end up seeing them in all the same events and pockets and circles, and you kind of can't avoid each other once you form those connections.
it's like, I don't know. Maybe Frank Slootman would disagree with this, but it's like it's not life or death. Like we're selling software together. It's okay. Competition is good though. It also forces you to be creative. It's like I think, there's like one upsmanship. And like I think I remember being at Drift and I think I saw an early thing that you all did that was super interesting to me was like my perception of it was we did product launches and then like I saw qualified. You all did these like high end, like you'd film. What's your CEO's name?
Craig.
Craig.
Yeah.
All right.
Censored. Yeah.
It'd be like, and then Maura and Craig, and like you'd be like dressed nicely, and it'd be like cut to you, and like you'd walk through this stuff, and I was like, oh, like these people know what they're doing. Like you're doing like these high end, like making these feel like moments, and then like we take a little ingredient for that, and then like Intercom did this kind of like world tour thing, and we took some from
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
so,
They're good at events. Yeah.
but I think that is what marketing is. It's like I say all the time that like I have my experience has been in B2B marketing, but I think one of my strengths is like the ability to like see marketing in everything. I'll get an idea from the like local sandwich shop down the street, and there's like an old man who has like this creative like hilarious sign out front, and I'll like be like, how can we take that and like use that in our company? I think that is what's fun about marketing to me.
Yeah, and it's good to kind of stay on your toes, right? You can't get too comfortable in marketing. You have to stay relevant. You have to keep innovating. And so when there's competition, it kind of lights a fire under you in a good way that makes you think like, okay, what's as soon as one launch is over, like, hey, what are we going to do next? How do we keep that momentum? Because if you don't maintain it, it dies.
Did you work with Craig at Salesforce? Were you all like that was my understanding is like this kind of company spun out of kind of like a mini, there's a lots of Salesforce mafia, but it was like you all had some connections over there?
Yeah, yeah. So, my it's actually the story goes way back, but my first job out of college was at Salesforce. And Craig at the time was the SVP of product marketing. And I landed in marketing and I worked for Craig, and then he became the CMO. And then most of our executive team was all at Salesforce at that time. It was kind of like 2010 to 2015. So Sean Whiteley, our co-founder, Bing Yang, Gopal Patel, all of our co-founders, and Tawny, they were all kind of at Salesforce in that era. They then left and started a company, Get Feedback, a survey platform, which was acquired by SurveyMonkey. I led product marketing at Get Feedback. So I kind of left the mothership, went to Get Feedback, was excited to be at a smaller company. And then when they left Get Feedback, Craig pitched me on, they kind of went into the labs, I would say in like September of 2018, and we're starting to cook up some ideas. And then I joined in May 2019. So I've worked for Craig my whole career, probably the last 16 years. And it's really cool because I think we just have a lot of trust amongst our team and like amongst our executive team because we've all worked together for so long. Um, and with that comes healthy challenges and debates and all of that great stuff. But there's a lot of trust at the end of the day. And Craig's a marketer, so he's always like pushing me. He doesn't let me just like get stagnant or lazy. He's always pushing us to be relevant and have momentum,
That's
which
how
is
that's
cool
how that's how
though.
it was at Drift with David. Like David Cancel,
Totally.
he was the founder. He wasn't he was never like CMO at Salesforce or whatever, but he loved marketing. Marketing was his thing. And so he got to like basically mold me in his image, and I was like 20 years younger or whatever, a different point in my career. And that was really cool. And I think that not everybody that listens to this is lucky enough to work for a CEO who gets marketing. But man, don't you feel like if that's something that you can interview and find out on the way in, like it just makes your life so much easier?
100%. I mean, there's a lot of pressure when the CEO gets marketing because you can't just like throw jargon at them and go spend a ton of money and they'll be like, yeah, go for it. Like they're gonna press you, but I would much prefer a CEO who gets it. And also like Craig's willing to take bets on brand because he knows that we can't quantify it, but it's gonna help with how people are paying attention to us. He's really invested in product launches. He's always pushing us. So I think it's a good thing. I talk to so many marketers who are like, my CEO just doesn't get it, or they think all we need to do is like issue a press release for everything and we'll get coverage in Forbes. And like, that would make your job really, really hard. Um, so I'm grateful that, and our other co-founder, Sean, he used to be a product marketing leader at Salesforce. He's a product marketer at heart. So sometimes there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen, but I'd prefer that because there's a lot of good ideas than
It's
not
better to
enough.
well be it's like better to have not knowledgeable cooks than like someone who's never cooked before.
Yes, exactly. It's not like those Food Network shows that's like the world's worst cooks, trying to make something. It's more like Top Chef. So did you and Dave work together, or David, before Drift? Or was that your first
No,
time
that
working
was
with?
our first time. And The way that I got my job there was my first big break in marketing was like I was working at this startup and I worked at a company called Constant Contact and they were email software
Yeah, because
company
I
and
worked for
my
Campaign Monitor because Get
ah
Feedback was acquired by Campaign
man,
Monitor
we
before
I'm gonna
starting.
fly
Oh,
out
yeah.
to the Bay. We need to hang.
Yes, yeah, we gotta hang. We actually have a lot in common.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where I started my career. Like I started in PR. I was a PR at a PR agency. Then I wanted to go in house, and I went to Constant Contact, which is like really cool
Interesting.
tech company at the
Yeah,
time. And I did PR, and I wanted that company was cool, but I really liked startups at the time. My job was I was the PR manager for like Constant Contact social media product, and so I was like going to South by Southwest. I'm reading TechCrunch every day when TechCrunch was big. I knew all the companies, all the apps, and I was like, I think I want to get into startups. And so I found a startup in Boston. They didn't have a marketing job for me. So I joined as customer success manager, world's worst customer success manager for sure.
but it's a good role to have as a marketer to have that point of view of the customer-facing team, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it was brutal though. It was more just like my job was to demo the product. Things never worked, and
Oh, ooh, yeah,
it's like,
that's not good.
yeah,
It's not
very
good to be
early.
a CSM
Like
for a bad product.
this was
That's
like
not fun.
well, it was like we had like pre $1 million in revenue. It was just very very early. Anyway, while I was there, I started to get into startups and I listened to this podcast called This Week in Startups by Jason Calacanis. And listen to this podcast, I'm like, man, all these companies are like Uber, Instacart, all these San Francisco based companies. I'm like, I'm in Boston. There's an amazing startup scene here. I was like, somebody should start a podcast about Boston startups. And Ben, who is the founder of the company, is at Privy. He was like, you should start it. And he gave me the free pass to like go build this side project. And so I did that. And it was through that podcast that I actually met David because he was a guest on my podcast. I got him, it was like a big get, like a founder. And I did an interview with him. And I'm writing up the show notes the next day. And I was like, man, that conversation was amazing. Like that dude, like taught, like I learned a bunch from that. Usually sometimes I'm talking like a boring VC or whatever. And no disrespect to VCs, just one in particular I can think of. And I looked at the website and they were hiring a marketing person. And so I was like, ooh, interesting. And I was not happy in my job. I was working at HubSpot at the time. And I send him a note and I get so I applied for the job and I get an automated message like 12 hours later that's like, thank you so much. We've reviewed your application. Unfortunately, like we've already filled this role, like appreciate it. And I was like, oh, bummer, back to work, whatever. Morning, I get an email from the recruiter. He's like, hey, actually, never mind. David saw your email and he wants you to come in and interview. And I was like, heck yeah. Went in and interviewed him and interviewed with him. And he was like, yeah, like we want to open up a job for you. Like we think you would be great. And that was the turning point in my career was like to go to a place where I got to do a lot of the doing for the first time, the website, PR, social strategy, like, and I can't thank that experience enough for like, I
Yeah.
think it's great to go to a big company and, you were at Salesforce as an example, but I think I learned the most, like there's something to like go to a big company where you can learn a bunch and then like get to go and do something.
Yes, I'm so grateful for my trajectory, and I'll just kind of, you don't know it when you're in it that it's working out the right way. But Salesforce, I got to see how is the machine, how does it operate? How does like one of the world's best B2B companies operate? I was inspired by their events, their product launches, etc. And then to be able to take that playbook and then be like, okay, how do we apply this playbook at a startup where we can move much, much faster? I'm more of a product marketer and customer marketing. That's more of my background. So it also pushed me at the beginning. Like I had to learn so much about, because I was marketer one, I had to learn like demand gen, I remember Googling like how to set up SEM campaigns, how to build dashboards in Salesforce, because I was used to having counterparts. I was at some smaller companies like in between Salesforce, as I mentioned with Get Feedback and Campaign Monitor. But it taught me how to do everything. And now that my team's bigger and we're a more mature company, I'm grateful for that experience because I can see what everybody's doing throughout the day. It's like I'm not blind. I know what it looks like to upload a press release or work with our PR agency. I know what it looks like and there's a lot of new stuff like AEO and all this stuff that I don't know because it wasn't around when we were starting the marketing function. But I feel like it gives me empathy for my team. I understand the lift that it takes. I'm not an expert in a lot of the things. And I think I learned the importance of hiring people who are smarter than you, and especially in those functions where you're not strong. Like I have a really strong VP of demand gen and marketing ops. Um, but if you could have that experience at a small company and it's a ton of hard work and like late nights doing God knows what, not fancy work, but you learn so much. I'm really
Can
grateful for it.
anybody that's listening to this right now, can you just hear what Maura is a super accomplished CMO and a marketing leader in the space that you care about. And she is on our podcast right now. 20,000 people listen this month and she's saying, I know everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. I don't.
I'm calling this out because I think one of the number one questions we see in Exit 5, I see in my inbox is like that want to get to the CMO level, but they're like, hey, I want to be a CMO, but like my experience is only in PR. And I'm like, great. I've been doing this, Maura, for like since the Drift days for like 7 years now, interviewing CMOs. Every one of you has come up from a different area. I would say the common thread though is like everyone has one core area that like they're good at. And so for you, you're saying like it's product marketing. And then and maybe there's three things. They have one core area, product marketing, that's their core skill set. Number two, they've probably worked somewhere else where they were able to observe. So like you're at Salesforce, and so maybe you've never run demand gen, but you probably worked with some super legit people at Salesforce, right? And you go and you have to build a team around that. Can you just build on that, because I want people to hear it from you about like it is an impossible task to know everything in marketing right now. It's changing faster than ever. How could you possibly be an expert in ads, SEO, PR, product marketing, analyst relations, events, the direct mail? Like, how do you take that? How have you taken that into your job as a CMO?
Yeah, I would say as an early, like when I first was CMO at Qualified, I kind of had imposter syndrome and I thought I had to be the expert at everything. I've learned over the years, because I've been in this role for about 7 years, like what you need to do is hire really, really smart people around you who can teach you and guide you. My VP of marketing operations, his name's Chris Bockelman. We've worked together for 10 to 15 years. He runs laps around me with like MarTech and report building and analytics and insights. My VP of demand gen, who's like his, kind of partner in crime, Sarah McConnell, she knows way more about me than I do about like thought leadership and content and buyer journey. But it's what's the phrase about like rising tides? What is that?
Lift
I'm
all
blanking.
boats, rising
Lift
tides,
all
lift all
boats. Like
boats. Yeah.
I just feel like if you can hire the A team, and I think it's a good thing if they're smarter than you, or especially in certain areas, like then you guys are going to come across like this like totally stellar marketing organization. If you're a CMO, which it's easy to have imposter syndrome sometime and be like, I need to know everything, and you try and hire people too junior so that you can be the star and you can be all knowing and they can do all the grunt work, you're going to fail. So I think you need both, right? And especially at a small company, those really smart people, they have to have grit. They have to be willing to roll up their sleeves. You can't come in as a VP and think you're going to boss people around when you're a small company. You have to do the work too. But I just think looking for great talent who can teach you something is like what you should really be looking for when you're building out the team. And then being okay admitting, like I just asked yesterday to Sarah and a woman on our team who's owning our AEO strategy, I was like, I don't feel like an expert here. I feel like I have a lot to learn. I was talking with the CRO of Webflow 2 days ago, and he was like dropping all this knowledge on me about website behavior and the LLMs and traffic benchmarks and what they should be. And it was really informative and enlightening. And I went to Sarah after and was like, can you give me a master class on AEO? I need to just like go into profound, show me all of our data. I need to get like really close to it. And it would be easy for me to leave that call and be like, oh, I'm all knowing. I just talked to this guy. I have all these stats, but I think it's okay to be a little vulnerable and say where you need to learn more.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I'm rambling a bit, but it's
No,
like
you're
build
not.
build the A
This is,
team, call out
yeah.
when you need to learn more, and always be curious. Like I think that's what makes a great marketing leader, is somebody who's always, because the landscape is shifting so quickly right now. So that curiosity, I think, is what's gonna propel certain marketing leaders forward.
No, rambling is good. I love this style I love when a guest actually talks to me. It makes this
Good.
so much more fun. It's
Okay,
so
good.
much less pressure than like, next question, Dave. And I'm like, well, I don't have a next question. I'm having a conversation. Like I didn't think of what I was going to ask you. Um, no, so a couple things that made me think of. Number one, on the like not knowing everything. I don't know if this is because I think it's probably because I'm just older than I was, and I'm at a different point in my life and family and maturity, and you just change. Like a lot of things, I'm 38. When I was at Drift, I was 28. That's a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah, you're a different person, I'm
You're a
sure.
different person,
Yeah.
and life humbles you. You just learn stuff, right? And I think one thing that I'm super okay with now is maybe it's because my company or whatever, it's my company, totally okay with my team seeing me like not know the answer.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I have tried to get better at being like, I don't know the answer, but like it's your job to figure it out. So you go tell me. I'm happy to help you and you can pick my brain on this, but like you should go figure it out. That's
Yeah.
where I used to always be like, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I can do it. I can do
Yes.
it. And that doesn't help. That doesn't help you in the long run. It's like you never learn to pass the ball. And then eventually like you're out sick or whatever. And you need to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's been a big learning for me as well, because I think early on, it was easy to be like, "I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll scoop it up, I've done this before, it'll just be faster if I do it." And when you can learn to, like, let go and folks rise to the occasion when they're given a challenge, and if you're always just saving them, then they won't have to learn the hard way. So I think that's the sign of a great leader when you're just like, "Here's a challenge. Can you go dig into this, come back with a recommendation, let's work on it together, we'll workshop it, but I'm not gonna have all the answers. Like, go do some research and come back and we'll formulate our strategy." I also think that's all of this is just, and I'm not perfect, I'm still learning, but a lot of it is just like, it's confidence. It's confidence being okay not knowing the answer. It's having confidence in your team that they're gonna figure it out. It's having confidence that, like, I don't know, in all of those things, I think it's important.
Something else that I wanted to ask you built on that, and I usually am taking 1,000 notes, but I'm actually having a conversation, so this is enjoyable. What do you think? One of my questions that I had in my head when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk to you about, I qualified for 6 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time in our
Oh my god, I feel like it's like most it's a long time. Yeah, 6.5, but who's counting?
in reality. It's not like
Yeah.
my my mom was a teacher. My wife's mom was a teacher. They both worked at the same school in the same role for 40 years. But there's in our world of tech and CMOs, it's like 2 months and you go somewhere else.
Yeah, it's a revolving door. Well, it's funny, my husband's he works for Williams-Sonoma Pottery Barn, and he's in finance, and he's been there for 19 years, and it's
You guys just love stability over there in the Rivera household.
yeah, but, like, and so he's like, and I'm like, but in tech, usually it's like, 2 years shelf life for a CMO, and it's fun because people are always bopping around, but for me, it goes back to the team that we have. Like, it's that trust that I talked about. It's that comfort that I've talked about. Um, so that's what keeps me here. And then the product, we're innovating really, really quickly, and so that keeps it exciting. But yeah, it's a long time. Most CMOs who I meet, I just met the CMO. Who was it? She was at Clue, and she's been there for 7 years, and we were at a breakfast, and we basically had a very similar story, and we're like, "We gotta catch up. We gotta go get wine next time and talk about this because it is rare, um, to have that much history with the company, but it's been fun. Each year's different, right?"
Thought about what I wanted to say to you on the team thing. So I remember specifically, you just were talking about like how it really is all about the people, and I think this is one of those lessons. It's kind of like post kids. It's like once I had my own kids, I realized a bunch of the things that like I didn't like that my parents did. I'm doing the same thing to my kids. I'm like, oh, I get why you did this. And I worked for Mike Volpe, who's a CMO at HubSpot at the time, and when I joined HubSpot, they had 75 people on the marketing team. And the very last round of the interview was with him in an hour in person. And I was like, how do you have the time to do this? Like, this is a public company. He's like, what do you mean, dude? This is the job.
Mhm. Mhm.
No, that can't be it. You got to be like, you must be like coming up with taglines and billboards. And this is the job. He's like, you will learn that 90% of the job is building the team. And it is the one thing that makes everything else easier. If you get the team right and the people right, then you get to do it. And so your thing is like it's one of those like business platitudes. Like it's all about the people. But until you really feel that, you're like, wow, my team is awesome. And look at all the time I have back and the freedom that I have. And how much of a source of my stress was because like I was bad at hiring and bad at managing and like didn't know how to find the right people. That is the job at this level.
Yeah, team, and I think that's, like, it's easy sometimes to rush hires because 'cause you're like, "I've got work I need to take off of someone's plate," or, "I've got a head count to fill, and if I don't fill it, it'll disappear." But who you putting as much time as you can into building that A team, it will pay off in spades. That's the thing I'm most proud of at Qualified is the marketing team that we've built. And everybody, knock on wood, has been around for a really long time because I hope they feel the same way. It's chaotic and they work their butts off, but like
You
there's
wait,
a
wait,
camaraderie.
how many people are on the team right now?
Our team's like 25 people from marketing.
A bunch of them who've been there for more than 4 years.
Oh yeah, a bunch. Most of the
Many.
team. We've probably hired, I bet like 12 to 15 have been here for over 4 years.
Oh,
Don't quote me on that.
no, I'm not. But
It's
just as
something
I'm
like
just trying to
that.
say, like, as a percent, that feels like, a lot of companies, it's constant turnover, constant change. Like, must have given you the ability to like operate more long term because you have some history, because you can make longer bets. The people that are there to see these things through.
Yeah, we have our playbooks. We know how to do it. There's a lot of trust. I mean, it's always hard. We're a remote team, so that's the thing I crave the most is just more in-person together time with us because that always really fills our cup. Um, but yeah, knock on wood, and I think there's a lot of pride. Like a lot of folks were here when we were smaller. We're about like 300 employees now, and we feel like we're on the map and we're a real company and like we're thriving, which is great. And people are like, it's all led to this is kind of the feeling that they have. Like all those late nights, all of those like early day launches we were doing, it's kind of led to this moment. So I think there's a lot of pride from the team. But that trust I think is great. And now we're hiring right now. So we're bringing new people into the team. And it's like, okay, how do we bring new people who can help us do more and are going to just like be great additions to the team? And kind of help us maintain that great camaraderie we have, because that's what makes it all work, right? And that's what makes it you want to work hard is when you like the people that you're working with.
Can you take me into as much as you can? Like, obviously 6 years is a lot, but I want to take me into like how Qualified does marketing. Like, what are some of your rhythms and routines? Like, do you operate, do you do these monthly launches, quarterly product launches, campaigns? Like, people love hearing the actual, like, here's how this company who's doing well does marketing.
Yeah, I would say so product marketing is a huge focus for us. We do launches probably do one big launch a quarter, but we try and do a launch every single month. When we do our big launch, our playbooks usually revolve around an event. So we can try and build momentum, build excitement before it, do this virtual event. We host them on Goldcast. They're what you talked about earlier. It's a keynote, it's a product demo, it's a customer conversation. We try and make it feel big. And then as soon as that quarterly big launch drops, it's like, how can we just promote the heck out of it, obviously? So that product marketing playbook, and to me, it's important that everything's laddering up to our corporate narrative. We're talking a lot about agentic marketing. How is pipe gen changing with an agent at the center of it all? We have our agent Piper. So those big quarterly launches, but then every month we're like, okay, how do we keep that drumbeat going? So tomorrow we're launching like agentic nurture and this idea that an agent can work the top of funnel. And that's more of an on-demand launch. So we'll drop a keynote, a demo, a customer story. We'll do all the things, but it's not a big virtual event. So I would say launches are a great way just to showcase innovation, both for new prospects and pipeline prospects, but also for our customers to feel
Yeah.
like these guys are always innovating.
Let's pause on this for a second. This is my favorite. This is my favorite thing. And I don't think about this enough now, I think because of my job today, but I think that there are great companies, there's a strong alignment between the product roadmap and marketing. And there's a great article David Sachs wrote back in the day on this about, like, I don't know what it's called, like there's like a cadence or something. There's an operating cadence. And like, we did this at Drift, not because of that article, but it was like, at the time we wanted to move fast and suck all the oxygen out of the market. And so we did a product launch every single month. And why that was amazing is because of everything you just said. It's like, you have to have product and marketing working together to drive the like company narrative. And so at the time it was like, we're trying to like create and own this category of conversational marketing. Well, that can't just be the marketing team like doing a bunch of webinars. We need like the drumbeat of product stuff. And then it's an amazing way to rally the whole company around this. And then like so much of marketing is not about the always on demand stuff like ads and SEO. It's about like creating these reasons to go and retell your story. And it's amazing for like giving sales reps are going to do their thing anyway, right? But if you give them like a why now thing, like, hey, here's who we're qualified, we do X, Y, and Z, but also we have this new thing, and here's why this is super relevant to you. Plus, you can go market to existing customers. Like, I just love that as the like central, like the heartbeat of a high performing team, right?
I was gonna say it's the heartbeat, like, and so we have and, like, the whole marketing team's creative's working on it, like, we're working on demand gen's working on it. Everybody kind of works towards these launches, and then we'll go on the road at events, and we're bringing that new product in our sessions and at our booths, whatever it may be. But that product marketing cadence is the heartbeat, and to your point, Dave, it's a forcing function for us to keep evolving our narrative. So, like, I sit in a room with Craig and with our product marketing team, and we develop these mini keynotes, and it's a chance for us to say like, here's our vision, here's how it's evolving, here's what's new, and like we're so excited to bring you this value customer. So it's internally it helps us move forward. Like, we're not a company who sets our corporate narrative at the beginning of the fiscal year and lets it sit in a Google Doc. Like, it is a living, breathing thing for us. We're always adjusting and evolving, and these launches help us crystallize it, get it into the market, and then we're working really closely with our product team. Like, we're a product company, so that's if our product sucks, nothing else matters. So it's like, how can we bring that innovation to everybody? And one thing that's cool is early days we would like go out we would outsource to video production, whatever, but we've built an in-house studio. So our office in San Francisco, we have qualified studios. We'll go shoot our keynotes and our demos there, and we probably do like 3 or 4 shoots a week. Like, we were in there yesterday with the team from SaaStr, actually, because they're a customer of ours, and they're shooting some stuff. So like that, doing all of our creative in-house has allowed us to move really fast. It's allowed us to do those monthly launches, quarterly launches, whatever it may be.
So that's a great, perfect answer. That's a good pillar of that. Have any you haven't had to live this, so maybe not. Any advice for someone who's like, yeah, well, that's just not how my company works. Like, how can you lead that change as a marketer and try to get these two things working together?
For marketing and product,
Hmm.
I mean, I think it's like you have to build that relationship with your head of product. It has to come from the top, unfortunately. Like, and so I think building Bing is our one of our co-founders and chief product. He's our chief product officer. So we're lucky because he and I have also worked together for a really long time. But there's always the healthy tension, right? Of like, marketing's pushing us to launch something, and the product, how do we keep getting it as perfect as possible? And so I think bringing the product leader into those conversations and mapping out like, hey, here's my recommendation for what our launches look like over the next 6 months. What's your feedback? Like, do you think this is too soon? Are you comfortable with this? And like bringing them into that marketing machine. Like, Bing will come and we'll do jam sessions on our keynotes, or he'll listen in, or I'll invite him to meetings where we're talking about the press release for a launch, and I'll say like, you don't have to come. I'll put you as optional, but I just want you to be in the loop. I want you to know what we're doing. I don't want there to be any surprises from marketing. And so that's, I think, helped a lot, because is just building that like that friendship and relationship. And just like CMOs, I know Udi from Gong is always like, know how your CRO takes your coffee. I think you should also like know how your CPO takes their coffee too, so you can do these fantastic launches as a team and as a unit. And then kind of your teams underneath you will follow. Then your product marketing team and your product operations team will start to create that rhythm and that cadence.
Like the coffee thing, I think ultimately the same way about the coffee as I do as the team. Like, I think a lot of times though, there's like surface level kind of be like, it's great to be friends with your product leader, but like, are you actually working together? And the best I've ever had this was when we were at Drift. This guy Craig Daniel, who was the head of product at the time, I would just see him storming down the like the hallway to like my desk, and I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
no, you're like, oh no.
and I was pumped because I'm like, they just had an idea, and like they would be like, he'd be like, Digi, come here, you got a second, like they would bring me in the room with like, you know, 5 designers and 2 engineers, and they'd be like, what do you think about this? And it's like, knowing what I know now, like that was the secret sauce. Whereas like I worked at other companies where it's like, nope, we're not showing you, we're not showing marketing yet. We can't show you yet. Can't show you yet. We'll tell you about it when we're ready. Nope, next quarter, next quarter is like we worked on that stuff together. And like the product team had amazing marketing ideas and we had amazing insight into the roadmap. And it was truly a collaborative thing. And that was the secret sauce.
Totally. And I mean, we're so lucky that like we sell to marketers. We talk about qualified and unqualified. Like all of our inbound pipeline goes through our product through Piper, our agent. And we were leading up to our latest launch, which was Piper X. It was the latest release of Piper. We had daily stand-ups for probably 6 weeks with me, with like our head of marketing ops who oversees our qualified implementation, with our head of design, with our engineers, and we were shaping the product and giving feedback every morning, beginning of day, and every day, end of day for 6 weeks. And so when it was time for launch, we were all like so pumped because we felt like we were able to influence the product. They were baking in our feedback. And then it just felt like this team effort, which is very rare. So building that cadence, you have to do it early though. I think sometimes like if you don't do it when you're new in a marketing role and then like 18 months later, you're like, oh, I should get close to my product team. It's too late. You have to do it early.
That's a big one. I want people to like it's so much of the success I've found like in talking to so many marketing leaders over the years. It's very rarely like, oh, qualified is, they have some like SEO hack that they figured out. It's
Mhm.
like it's almost always the bigger strategic thing. So that's a good one. Product launches. What give me like numbers 2 and 3 on that list?
Yeah, I would say like owning the bigger narrative. I mentioned just like agentic marketing is really what we're pumped about right now, and how our agents coming into your marketing team and helping you generate pipeline. For us, that thought leadership content and playbook is huge. Events also play a big part of it. Like we're having our agentic marketing summit in a few weeks. We wrote a book on agentic marketing. I mean, you know this playbook better than anybody. So I feel like I don't have to tell you, but for our listeners, like how can you own not just the product positioning, but try and take ownership of the category and be thought leaders there? That's a huge part. And then I would say like a big area of focus for us, and this is kind of like it's because of our own product also, but it's just like our website. And how do we make sure our website is beautiful and it's simple and it communicates a message and then it's optimized for conversion? And I'm adding a fourth, which is we're big on events, and events feel like they're back. Like in-person events are back. I mean, we're just on the heels of events fall madness, where we all used like a lot of hand sanitizer and shook a million hands. But like that's a big part of how we get face in the place with marketers who we sell to. Um,
My
Owned
hand.
events,
We do
sponsored
our own.
events.
We at our events. Like I feel like I'm the host. I'm the founder. People that come to our events know me. I feel like I'm the bride, and I'll be like stealing a second to myself, and I'm like having a sandwich in a corner, and it's like some guy. It's always a guy. It's never a woman. Guy comes up to me and he's like, "Dave Garrett, nice to meet you." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Do I have to touch your hand right now? Like I'm eating. Like
While
I'm
I'm eating a
putting
sandwich.
my hands to my mouth. I don't." I already had norovirus last week from the animals that live in my house. Like I don't need. Yeah, it's okay.
Tell me about the event that you do. I've heard how many people came to it this year? It's pretty impressive that you can get such a huge group, like hundreds of people, right? Up to where
Have you
you are.
seen? I mean, I have 190,000 followers on LinkedIn. I'm a thought leader.
Hey,
This is
ooh.
like, what we just say the events, we have tickets available and these people show up. Like it's easy.
The
No.
event runs itself, I'm sure.
So we had 250 people in Vermont, and we did it in Vermont initially because I was being lazy, and the business is built on this like amazing online community we have. And after years of doing it, members were like, when we should do an in-person event. And I was like, no, I hate events, super stressful. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But then when I hired a real team and now we have a real company and 7 people, it's like, yeah, we should do events. We decided to do a home game in Vermont because I was like, oh, fine, we can do an event, but I'm not traveling for it. And it turned out that that actually ended up being an amazing play. And that was not why we did it, because there's like people want to go to these like off market, we all grew up like, you and me, we've spent how many of our hours of our life in like, the Hilton in downtown San Francisco, like in a Marriott. And I think to your point about people wanting to go to events and want to travel, I think they want to go do different stuff in different places. And then that they're, connecting the Exit 5 brand, which is about Vermont, to Vermont, and having the event there ended up being like an amazing unintentional marketing play. But the event was amazing. And it was amazing because we have this baseline of like probably 50% of the people who were there already felt like they know each other because of online. And so we got an 88 NPS in the first year and then a
Wow.
77 in the second year. And it was like, I didn't expect it to be, to beat that. But I don't think we have some secret events playbook. I just think it's because it's the people that are there and they want to hang out and they want to be around each other. So we're doing it next year. We're keeping it in Vermont, but we have a bigger venue. So we'll have 400 people in Stowe, Vermont in September. And then we're also doing an event in March in Arizona that is focused on 100 B2B marketing leaders. So you have to be a VP or CMO to go to that one.
Okay, very
Um,
cool.
we're going to we'll get you there. And we're doing that. But we've had a ton of success with smaller events also. Like, through our community, we have 10 people last weekend in Phoenix went and played pickleball.
Love it.
And like, that's amazing, right? There was people did barbecue. Have you seen these break rooms?
No.
It's kind of like, just like you get 10 people in a room and you just like smash things.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I didn't know it was called a break room, but yes,
Break
I've
room,
seen
yeah.
those. Yeah.
So like people are doing that. And I think people just want to hang out and connect in person. And we felt that way that events are back. And I think, so it's interesting because I think like both things are true right now, which is like, I fully believe in where you all are going. Like I do believe in agentic marketing and all that stuff and AI and that being the future. But there's another end of the spectrum where I also think that like the people and humans are going to matter more than ever. And I think we're all craving for like, we all spend so much of our time on Zoom calls, on video. I spend so much of my time walking around my house talking to, my little British AI accented chat GPT. But there's a difference between like if I actually see you in person and I look you in the eye and you get a sense of my sense of humor and we have that banter and nuance. And so I think the challenge for like marketers is to solve both. Like, how do you
Yes.
do marketing using AI to like help your business grow? But like, I think from a brand building standpoint, connecting in person is just going to be more important than ever. And so we're feeling that, and it's kind of changed the trajectory of our business.
Yeah. I think especially so many marketers going back to like that marketers are shifting jobs so much. Like that networking so key because you can have it's where you'll end up like the fact that you worked for David because you did a podcast interview with him and that to kind of set the trajectory of your career. Like it's good just to keep that network alive and well and people are craving that fun right now. I spent a lot of time with Matt Hines who's done a great job curating community and putting on breakfast and that type of stuff and people show up. People show up when it's raining. People show up when it's cold because they just want to be together.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's no room for nuance online.
Mhm. Mhm.
In person, there is, and I think there's a huge value in hanging out with people who do the job. Me about what's working for you all on the like AI side of things. I'm sure you're using your product to run a lot of your marketing, but like what are the specific plays that you're empowering AI to build pipeline for you?
Yeah, yeah. So, we're using our inbound agent, our AI SDR agent Piper for all inbound. She works a bunch of channels. She works our website. So, we used to have this world where humans would have conversations with folks on the website. Piper does all of that for us. We kind of crawl, walk, run towards that. So I used to have a team of like 10 inbound SDRs. Now I have zero. I just have Piper, the agent who does all of our inbound. And what's been a big unlock for us from a pipe gen perspective is not just engaging with folks on the website, but also following up with all of our leads. So the fact that she can pre and post event, email folks, get them to book meetings at events, do event follow up. She can go through old leads that like at one point were interested or old opportunities that at one point were interested, but we might not have won and try and work those folks. So her kind of working across email and website has been key for us. From an outbound perspective, we're using a platform called Relevance. We've built an outbound agent that serves as both a co-pilot for our outbound SDRs because we kind of redeployed all of our inbound SDRs to outbound when we brought Piper on. We're using Relevance for that, and it's been helpful to kind of just do a lot of the research on the buying groups and help tee up emails. But then a lot of times we'll go through the human to hit send. That's more of a build story of a building an agent versus kind of an out of the box agent, which is what we have. And it's been cool too, because when you talk about the importance of people, we've created these new roles on our team. Like I know some people are calling them go to market engineers. I have a guy on my team who does like AI marketing operations. His job is to manage Piper and make sure she's coached and she's onboarded and we're giving her feedback and he's sending her after the right leads. And then we have another guy who used to be a BDR, an outbound SDR, and he's like standing up this whole relevance platform and all the agents that we're building on top of relevance. So that's been cool too, in that like our pipeline's going up. We're more efficient with how we're creating it, but it's also created these new roles for Ryan and Rich. They used to be some of our best SDRs, and now they're like getting super in the weeds with agents and like they're developing this new career trajectory with the advent of them. So that's been cool too. And then I mean we have a ton of little things we're using from we're using Clary for AI forecasting. We're using like all of Gong's bells and whistles for kind of like, to get a pulse on what's going on from a deal perspective. But Piper and Relevance have been our inbound and outbound tools that have helped from a pipe gen perspective.
Outbound is one of those things that like everybody tells me is not working right now, but then it's working really well for some people, and I always want to like unpack that. What have you learned? What are the secrets? Because on one end of the coin, you have like way easier to just like do outbound and send people a bunch of irrelevant junk, and so like the bar of like what's actually good outreach is higher, but you can do it through AI. Outbound is working for you all. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear, how would you handle that objection, and what must they be doing that's contributing to it not working? What could they be doing?
Yeah, I mean, for us, like outbound has always worked pretty well for us since day one. I mean, sounds like such a lame answer, but it's hyper personalization. It's going deep on the research. It's making sure, Dave, we know that you're in Vermont, that you were in Boston, where you went to college. There's a hook. Maybe your college has like had a game that happened that night. And we used to do these things called friendly wagers where we would say, where did you go to school, by the way? Did you go to, were you in Boston?
I went to Harvard. Have you heard of it? No, I'm just kidding. I didn't
Oh.
go to Harvard. I didn't go to Harvard. I didn't go. I just
Oh,
always
I
want to say
totally
that.
believed you. I totally
No,
believed you.
I went to Wagner College in Staten Island, New York.
Okay. So, maybe there's something about Wagner College, whatever it may be. That was really funny though. I totally believed you. Um, and so like when we just had humans doing outbound, they would go deep on personalization. They would do these friendly wagers. They would reference all of it. That would go far. Now that we have an agent assisting us with outbound, so we basically have an agent who can take like a patch that our BDRs don't own and try and get something from it. What's critical is this guy, Rich, because he's in there every day making sure that the agent emails are better than the ones that he would send. They're not a bunch of crap that's going to land in your inbox. They're really personalized. And so we have a really high bar. So I think it's like, how can we emulate what the humans were doing? Because that was always working for us. Rich he's like the hardest working guy I know. He's the first one in the office, the last one to leave, because he's trying to crack the outbound agent code. It's much harder to do than inbound. Inbound is like, it's like they're hand raisers. They know your brand. They want to get to know you. Have an agent pull the friction out of that buying experience. Like that's a no brainer. Outbound is harder. And I think there are a lot of people who've bought outbound agents and they think it's set it and forget it and their pipeline will grow. And that's simply not true. You need to have somebody who's managing it, somebody who's setting a high bar. And then you have to kind of like, we have a test going on right now with our leaderboard of like, can the agent generate more pipeline than our humans would? So we're kind of trying to create some, I would say like healthy competition to make sure that we have a high bar for what they're doing. So I don't think anybody's totally cracked using an agent for outbound code.
It's like anything. There isn't going to be some magic recipe, and then even if there was, you would share it on this, everybody would copy it, and then it would just stop working. So
Yeah.
seems to be more about like constant tinkering and innovating.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. What has you excited about like I guess let's take an optimistic view about where marketing is going. There's a lot of like AI is going to replace all of our jobs, da 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 da. What has you excited about the future and the role of being a marketer? Like how do we find our place in a world of AI?
Yeah. This sounds cheesy. I've never been more pumped to be in a marketing role. I feel the reason I'm excited is I feel like marketing is back in the driver's seat with how we're moving the business forward because we have all of these agentic solutions at our fingertips that we can help control. I think for so long, marketers were seen from other parts of the organization as like, those are the guys who spend money. Those are the guys who want to run billboards. but then we didn't feel like we had control of our funnel. Um, and a lot of times SDRs who are like responsible for converting pipeline report up into sales or CRO. So this idea as CMOs who now have more control of our funnel because we can have agents who we're deploying throughout it is incredibly exciting. I think it's an exciting time to lead because we can encourage our teams like try new solutions, break the playbook, see what new tech is out there and get your team excited so they're not feeling like they're doing the same old playbook. Um, and then if you can bring those ideas and be the mover and shaker in your organization and inspire other parts of the company, look how our team's embracing agents. Look how my team structure is evolving. Look at this new tech we're just trying. Look at our pipeline numbers that are going up because I have 24/7 coverage. Like that's I feel like marketing has the opportunity to look like heroes in their organization right now and kind of lead this movement. And we love being at the forefront of stuff. Like I think it said 54% maybe higher of marketers have embraced agents and are like using agents in production. A lot of other teams are not that far ahead. So it's like, how can we carve this path and really be seen as folks who can help us hit our numbers and do it more efficiently and paint the vision? I think we'll be in a more strategic role than we were 3 years ago.
Nice. I like that. I agree with you. I'm excited. It's I don't know if it's because my business is growing, we're having fun, but I think there's a lot of interest in marketing right now. And it's really, really fun when it kind of felt stale a couple of years ago. Okay, Maura, thank you so much for hanging out with me. You gotta go. I gotta go. We gotta wrap up. This was an awesome conversation. I would love to do it again. My goal in 2026 is to do more in-person like interviews and stuff. And I
Yeah.
think I would shortlist you on the candidates because the vibes would be high. I'll come for a trail.
Yeah, come for a trail run in the East Bay. And I'll work on my running before you get here because I'm a fraud. Well, thank you for having me, Dave. Super fun.
Way. If you listen to this and which I'm sure you did, and you're like, Mara sounds great. She sounds confident, humble, good leader, been there for 6 years, qualified, sounds like a cool company. The best thing that happens to me is when someone tells me like all the messages they got after this podcast. So go find Mara on LinkedIn, send her a DM, try to work for her, try to do, don't pitch her on anything. Just like if you're a marketer, listen, you want to go work for a great CMO, go send Mara a note. There's a reason 6 years at the same company, more than half of the team has also been there for 4 to 6 years. Like I would take that as a strong signal that this is a company that you might want to be a part of. So thanks for doing it, Maura. I will see you hopefully in real life soon. Thanks for hanging out with me on my podcast.
Thanks, Dave.